that we're not actually live on Facebook. Okay, hi, I'm Amanda Neely. Welcome to the very first Managing Money During Crisis, MMDC, live. We're going to be doing this all throughout April. We're a little behind schedule today due to technical difficulties, still working out the glitches. We thought we'd be on YouTube as well as Facebook, but we're not. We're only on Facebook. We'll have to figure that out tomorrow if it's all possible to do live on both at the same time. If you know how to do that, please message us, let us know. Or if you know that's not possible, save us some time, message us, let us know that. But you can also go check out the YouTube station. We're gonna have some really great videos dropping there, even if we can't go live on the YouTubes. You just look for Grandma's Wealth Wisdom and be sure you hit subscribe when you go there. But for now, we're on Facebook. Be sure you like this video, you click share, you like our page, whatever action you are feeling right now. Would love that. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into what I have been thinking about a lot today. And I keep having the audio cut in and out. So if you lose me for a second, that is why. I'm going to leave it on the computer audio rather than this microphone. So I'm just going to move the mic, done with it. Here we go. So providing some value about this crisis that we're in, I want to talk about this question of your individuals are getting $1,200 from the federal government. Children, for each child in your family, you're getting $500 as long as you're under like the income thresholds and stuff. What are you going to do with that money? What should you do with that money? What are the best options for what to do with that money? That's what we're going to be talking about today. But as people are joining and we're getting set up to talk about that, I wanted to share this quote that I found that I thought was a great inspiration, bringing hope to our current situation. So this is from Betty Davis, and it says, "To fulfill a dream, to be allowed to sweat over lonely labor, to be given a chance to create is the meat and potatoes of life. The money is the gravy." What I feel like Betty is trying to say there is that, you know, the effort, right? The thing that we get to do, the thing that we get to create, the dreams we get to go after, the process, the journey, that's really the meat and potatoes of life, or the tofu and potatoes of life. If you're a vegan, that's really like the stuff of life, and the money that comes along with that as we pursue what we feel like we're supposed to be doing, those dreams we're going after, the labor that we put in, the creative energy that we bring to our work, the money that comes along with that is the gravy that kind of goes on top of it. And thinking about this money that we're all going to be or that a lot of us are going to be getting from the federal government, it is kind of like gravy, but for a lot of people, it can feel like the meat and potatoes, right? If you just lost your job, if your hours got cut, if you're having to spend a lot of extra money to figure out life right now, this money that's going to hit our bank accounts or come as a check in the mail or however it's coming to us is going to feel more like meat and potatoes to some people. But to other people, it's going to feel like gravy. And so I want to talk to both groups today. First, I'm going to start, so the big idea here, what should you do with this money, is that there's no should. There never is a should with your money. The big idea, what should you do with this money you're getting from the government, is that there's no should. if you feel like you want to use this money to go buy pizza and beer, go buy pizza and beer. There's no judgment here. You get to make that call. It's your money. The federal government is sending it to you. However, if you want to think about what should I do with this money and decide for yourself what that should is, I think that's fabulous, right? Most people, if I were to venture to guess, most people aren't going to know where the $1,200 or the $1,700 or the $2,400 or whatever they end up getting for their family, they're not going to know where it went in a year. They're going to be like, yeah, we put it in the bank and it's been spent who knows on what. And they're not going to really know. But if you sit down and you just ask that question, what should I do with this money? And you do that before it lands in your bank account. And you take every single dollar that you're about to get and you ask yourself, what should I do with this dollar, with this dollar, with that dollar, and so on and so forth? You're going to make some really good decisions. Maybe you do need to buy some pizza, right, to feed yourself and your family. Maybe you do need to buy some beer to kind of de-stress a little bit, but maybe not the whole $1,200, right, needs to go to that. Maybe you have to do a car repair that you've been putting off. Maybe this is the time where you finally get a little bit ahead and you've got a cushion, an emergency fund, you just leave it in the bank. Maybe you've had this really great idea for a business and you use a little bit of that money to test out that business right now when you've got a little bit of extra time on your hands. There's so many different ideas of how you could use this money, and you get to decide how you should use this money. But it starts again with asking that question: how should I use this money? Now, one thing I learned today that I wanted to be sure to share is for the people that this money is more like gravy. This is, you got your meat and potatoes, your tofu and potatoes all set. This is something extra. You think, I could just throw this in the bank and I wouldn't even realize it. Like $1,200, that's very little or whatever. Now, especially if right now your career trajectory, you get the $1,200 as an individual if your income is less than, $75,000, right? And you get another $1,200, right, for as a married couple, for each individual if you're below that, and then you get $500 for each child under the age of 17. So if they're already 17, but they're still a dependent, you don't get that. But if your total income as an individual person is more than 75, you start getting less. 75,000, or if your income as a couple is more than 150, it starts phasing out until you get to 100,000, or it's like 99,000 as an individual, or 198,000 as a couple. Imagine this scenario. So right now they're basing what you're going to receive on your 2018 tax return, unless you've already filed 2019, and then they're going to use your 2019 tax return. But this stimulus package, the whole idea behind it is to give you an advanced payment against what you would have for your 2020 tax refund. So what you really need to be thinking about is how much money you expect to make in 2020. Because if let's say in 2018, you made 60 grand. So you would get that $1,200. And then in 2019, you made 100 grand. So or let's just say you made 80 grand. So you went from 60 in 2018 to 80 grand in 2019. You're now part of that phase out. And then in 2020, you're going to make like 120 grand. So you're part of the group that doesn't get it anymore, just speaking as an individual. You can do this for a couple too. But what they're really going to do is when you file your 2020 taxes, they're going to say, oh, you're part of this group that shouldn't have gotten this money. And we don't know what they're going to do with that. So if you still were in the group that should have gotten the money, it's going to be considered a already in advance of your refund. They're just going to lower your refund that you get in 2021 when you file your 2020 taxes by this advance that you just got. But if you're part of the phase out group, you got this advance of a tax refund that you're not actually entitled to. And this article that I was reading on Forbes says part of your life for whatever reason where your income is increasing. Maybe you've got a business that's doing fabulous with this crisis, or you're, in the initial part of your career and your salary is increasing, you're going to get a big bonus, something like that. You might want to think about are you going to have to just return this money or pay some extra taxes in about a year from now, April 15th of 2021? And so in that case, you might not want to spend it, or you might want to spend it on something that brings you a better return so that you get that money back by April of next year. Just something to think about. Again, I'm not here to tell you what you should do. I'm here to tell you what you could do and some of the things to watch out for so that you can decide, really ask your question, what should I do with this money? And you want to say, so let's just pretend you're like Brandon and me. There's two of us and we have one son. So theoretically, Brandon's going to get $1,200, I'm going to get $1,200, and we're going to have $500 for our son. That's $2,900. We don't have to spend it all in one place, right? We might take, $100 and use it for this, a couple hundred, use it for that, $20 to do this. But what we're planning to do is to ask ourselves, what should we do with this money? And give every single dollar within that $2,900 an assignment, something we want it to do for us. And we're not going to stop asking that question until we've assigned those dollars to do those things. And then we're going to do that. We're going to carry it out. Of course, we can always change our minds, but the most important thing is to have each of those dollars that's going to hit our bank account go into a place like a job to do, an assignment. So keep asking yourself, what should this money do for me? Yeah, you're going to do that with this unexpected windfall from the government, but you can also do that with whatever pay you're receiving right now, whether it be from still working, having a salary, whether it's from your business as a business owner, whether that money is from an unemployment that you're receiving, however you're taking in money, you want to keep asking. Two things that you could do. One, follow these videos. Be sure you follow us on Facebook so that when we go live each day at 8, you're able to see that and participate and be part of the conversation. And if we figure out how to get this on YouTube, we'll also share that on Facebook or whatever. Right now you're watching on Facebook, so really easy to follow our page so that you get these. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things that you have an opportunity for and bringing some hope, different things you might consider doing to manage your money during this crisis. So that's the first thing. Follow what we're doing, be part of the conversations here. The second thing, if you're having a really hard time figuring out what should I do with this money, either you can't think of anything to do with this money and you're having a hard time coming up with options, or there's way too many things. How do you decide which one to go after, right? You have to pay your gas bill, your electric bill, your rent. This money is not going to stretch so far. So let me talk first to the people that are having a hard time deciding what to do with this money. This is a great time to learn. We're going to share some ideas with you throughout these videos. You could go to the Googles, you could do all kinds of things. But what you really want to think about is the things you've been putting off or avoiding. How can you use this money as a way to explore those things? So maybe you've been avoiding getting serious about your retirement, or maybe you've been fearful about, exploring a new way, a different way, maybe grandma strategy way to prepare for your future and take your financial future seriously. Maybe this is money that you could do that kind of thing with and explore and be adventurous with it a little bit within safety, right? We're here at Grandma's Wealth Wisdom. We're safe money specialists. We're definitely not saying go buy a whole bunch of stock tomorrow with this money. Maybe that is right for you, but most likely it isn't. You might want to do a lot of research, that kind of thing. I don't think any stock jockeys are going to be watching these episodes, but if that is you, more power to you. If that's not your area of expertise, then look for what your area of expertise is and how could this money further your learning, like you're learning about the area of expertise. And I write down all the ideas on them. So yesterday we had 5 pieces of paper and all these like business ideas we wanted to try to accomplish with our business. And I wrote down what the thing was, how much it would cost. You could do this electronically, but I like to do it old-fashioned pen and paper. So I just make these little pieces of paper, just cut up a piece of paper into smaller pieces, write the thing we want to do and how much it's going to cost. And then I shuffle them up. I hand them to Brandon and I have him order them and what's most important to him. And theoretically, I would do the same, right? I have a second set and I would order them and we would see what his order is and what my order is. And then we'd have a conversation, right? Of all these things that we want to do, you put A in priority number 1, I put C in priority number 1. Let's talk about what that means, have a conversation about it, decide reach some kind of compromise where we can both agree on what we're going to do. So that's one way you might go about it. You got all these things that you want to do. You know that they cost a certain amount of money. So you shuffle them up, you put them in priority, and then you just start with the top one. And you say, okay, I got to do this. That's going to take 50% of the money I just got to do that. And then this next one, it's going to take another 40% of what I have. So I've just got 10% left. The third one, it's more than 10% of this money. It's 15%. I can't do that. I'm going to go the fourth one. Oh, that's perfect. It's 7%. I'm going to do that. I've got 3% left over. Maybe I'll just sit on that and decide later what to do. That might be a good thing. The other thing, if that still doesn't work, my ultimate solution is make the list, write the things next to it that you might want to do, and then just sit on it until you feel in your heart of hearts, in your gut of guts, you know exactly which one you want to do, and then go do it. But don't just let that money sit there until you feel like you know what you want to do, and then go after it. Go do that thing. You don't have to, just because the money is, sitting in the savings account, don't let it burn a hole in your pocket. Like they say, let it just sit there. You don't have to spend. How am I going to react to it? What is the best way for me to react to that? And that's only you can tell yourself that, right? You can have conversations, ask people, what do you think I should do? That kind of thing. But only you can ultimately decide, what is this fear? How can I get through it? What caused it? All those kind of things. And then once you're on the other side of that fear is when you'll be ready to make the decisions. And guess what? That money will still be there. It's not going anywhere. At least as long as you didn't go buy a whole bunch of stocks or something with it, which again, we talked about why, you might not do that unless you're a stock jockey expert kind of guy about that. And maybe even those kind of people wouldn't do it either right now. I don't know. I'm not one of those people. But back to the point, that money is going to be there. If the thing that you're thinking about doing is the right thing to do with that money, you don't have to rush into it. It'll be the right thing to do with that money in a week or in a month or in a couple months when you are ready and you've gotten through the fear. You're not just impulse acting, but you're moving forward with that thing in mind, right? And that thing you feel 100% solid about. One thing we say all the time here when working with clients is that we never want people to do something they don't feel comfortable with and they don't feel like they understand. Actually, I was just talking to somebody today that was telling me she puts money into a Roth IRA all the time, and she has no idea where it's going. She just brings a check to her guy once a year, hands the money over, trusts that he's going to do something good with it and that it's still going to be there. And I have no idea. Like she hasn't looked at her balance recently. She has no idea where that money is at right now. So if as you're thinking about what you're going to do, be sure that you're thinking, what do I feel comfortable with? What do I understand? How can I make sure that I trust and know what this money is going to do for me? So Kathy just commented on Facebook. Brandon brought over to me his phone. So basically, whatever your 2020 income is going to be. So a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, we end up paying taxes because we don't have a lot withheld throughout the year. And so then we pay them all at once in March or April or whenever, if you're filing as a business or on your personal. So what I understand from this Forbes article, and again, read the article and make sure I'm reading this right, is that let's say you were going to owe $10,000 in taxes next year. What they're saying is, and so I'm just going to pretend like it's you and your husband. I forget how old your kids are, but let's just say it's just you and your husband. So you're getting $2,400. You're owed $10,000. That really they're going to say, if your income is actually less than 75,000, or actually 150 as a couple, apologies there. If your income is less than 150, instead of owing 10,000, you're only going to owe, what is that? 7,600, 2,400 less, because we're giving you a tax credit for that. But if you got that 2,400 and you ended up owing 12,400, then you're still going to have to pay the 10,000, right? But if your income goes above that 198 as a married couple, and you got that 2,400 because your income was lower previously, it's not sure what's going to happen. It could be that they say you're going to owe us $20,000 in taxes anyway. Now we're going to make you pay back that 2,400 we sent. So now you're going to owe 22,400. Or it could be, well, if your income was 200,000, we're just going to say this money we sent you is extra income. So you're going to have to pay taxes on $202,400. If I did my math there, right? And so then you're going to owe a percentage higher on that. What Forbes is saying is it's not really clear right now. So what you want to be careful of is when you look at that adjusted gross income number on your tax return, if it's going to change. I'm getting an alert here that maybe my recording is not picking up the sound either. Hopefully this works. We're going to get this fixed by tomorrow. Maybe I'll just use my laptop instead of Brandon's to make this happen, because I'm using his and his is the one cutting out. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share today. Again, like the Facebook page, share this video if you think it would be helpful for other people. This whole thing about how it's an advance of your 2020 tax refund is something new that I hadn't heard on the news or anywhere else. So this could be something that's really impactful to the people around you, rather than just thinking about this as an extra refund for 2018 or 2019, that this is an advance of your refund for 2020, and you want to be thinking about it that way when you then sit down and say, what should I do with this money? And again, sit down, ask that question. I think I've rambled enough for now. If you're watching this as a replay, please feel free to comment. We're going to be monitoring things. Brandon a little better than me, but he'll let me know if there's anything that you comment and I don't see and that he can't respond to. But you can also bring any questions, thoughts, ideas to tomorrow's conversation. Same time, same place. Maybe we'll try to figure out YouTube as well and go from there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking your financial future seriously. Grandma, I can just see is applauding you, cheering you on, saying, yes, keep going along that smart, stable financial future using the tried and true wisdom of the greatest generation. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.